This is Minister Paul in Northern California on May 3rd, 2017. I want to share some information here in regards to the Oroville Dam. On April 17th of this year, and you can see contact information here if you have any questions, they planned 7 meetings, or they announced 7 meetings, and I want to show you these locations here. It started in Gridley. I'm going to show you this on the map. My dad lives there. So when they did the 1-hour notice to leave, Gridley was in that area, as was Oroville, as was all of these areas except for Chico. So yesterday they had a meeting in Oroville, and here's what's weird is, like, where I live, no one's really discussing what came out of the meeting. You know, it's really not on the local news here. It's just like, it's being buried. I mean, it's literally being buried, and it's a very important topic. We're talking about a life or death emergency situation that's not under control. And they're focused on everything but that. You know, Trump and the 100 days and this and that. And this is an issue for us locally. So today at 5:30, which is roughly 4 hours from now, with the presentation at 6:30, they're going to have it in Marysville, which is the closest one to my house. I'm just south of that. So what I want to do is I want to gather information, and then I want to present this information to you because you may not know about it, because it's not really being, you know, largely announced. May 4th, tomorrow, they have a second meeting. 2 days later, now watch this. 2 days later, they go back and have a second meeting in Oroville. And then they go to Yuba City, also was affected during that mandatory evacuation. And I'll show you all these on the map. And then that's May 9th. And then Chico, May 11th. It's at a Masonic Family Center at 1110 West East Ave. So I'm not going to even go there right now, but that could be a whole nother video. And then the final one, according to DWR, is May 15th, which is 12 days from now in Sacramento. So let me give you a scenario here. I've lived in California all my life, born and raised here. I've never seen the water levels this high. I mean, I went all the way down to Sacramento today. I'll bring up the map. I'll put a link to that. I drove all the way down to Sacramento today, and I've never seen the rivers this high. The only time they were this high was 1997, and where I lived along the river, we got stuck in the apartments. Luckily, I lived on the 2nd floor. I was blessed, actually, thank God. I lived on the 2nd floor because we were trapped in there. I mean, literally, the cars were all underwater, and they stayed underwater. Somehow, I remember I was able to get out to go to work, but for a few days, I missed my job because you couldn't get out. But then I had to get a bicycle. The water was so flooded in the streets everywhere. It was like the whole entire area was a flood zone. I had to ride a bicycle to work so I could avoid the flooded areas that were the worst, there and back. I was younger then, so it wasn't really an issue, you know what I mean? But here's the thing. I also lived through the mandatory evacuation we had that they announced when the spillway broke out. And the water levels now, compared to when this happened, are way higher. They're higher. In other words, I believe there's more of a concern now than there was when they gave the mandatory evacuation. And that's why they're going around and have these meetings. I mean, okay, so here's Lake Oroville, and here's Oroville Dam. So I'm going to expand it out, and we're going to go south. Okay, so you saw that. So here's Chico. It's north of the dam, which I wonder if they're preparing them, because they wouldn't be affected by the Oroville Dam flood. They're north of it. I wonder if they're preparing for something here. You know, because this is where they told everybody to go last time, Chico, and it was just really handled badly. That's my personal opinion. So you come down here, there's 2 ways to come down. You can come down 70 or you can come down 99. If you come down the 99 one, which is on the west side, you come through Gridley, and this is the path of the water that takes when it leaves Oroville. I mean, Like I said, I have not seen the river levels this high as a local, 53 years old, lived through floods, this high since 1997. And I want to emphasize this again. The levels are higher than they were before, at the time they announced the mandatory evacuation. So what do we got going on here? I'm going to have information. I'm going to share it. So we come down here. So there was a meeting here already, and then there's going to be a meeting in Yuba City here. It's on 99. The river runs through it. And then if we go in a little bit, you'll see that Marysville is just a click east of it. Okay, so here's Marysville. This is a levee road. Man, this water's high. I mean, it's May 3rd, folks. And then it comes down to Olivehurst. And then this is how you come down on 70, and this is what I take as 70. And you come down here, and then I live right in here where it says Plumas Lake. And this area was underwater in 87. It was a bowl, an ocean of water. It took a couple of decades for this area to be livable again. And some areas north of this, like Olivehurst and Linda, have never fully recovered. Yuba City's recovered real well, but even Marysville, they haven't fully recovered from that. That's how bad it was. That's how bad the water was, and it looks threatening now. So as you go down south, remember water runs downhill. As you go down south, it goes through these areas here that they just don't have firm levees here, and haven't had time to update them or done much work on it, or maybe they don't have the money. Whole another video. I'm not going there. It comes down into Sacramento. So I came down on 99 and at 70, see this? So 70 turns into 99, 99 turns into 5. So I took this route and I just saw puddled ponds of water several feet deep right off the freeway. Every river, I mean, it's like you ever drive by a river and your jaw drops like, oh my gosh. Well, that's where we're at. So it's May 3rd. Today is scheduled to be 93 degrees. And the snowpack is 190% of normal, and it's melting, and it's coming down into areas that can't hold it while they announce these 7 meetings, including areas above the dam. I personally think that this is a threat. It's more of a threat now than it was when we were given 1 hour to leave. And I think this should be something that should be very watched closely. The people involved should be watched closely. You know, to trust but verify, confirm the information. I'm gonna see what this meeting mentions, and whether I think it's just all hooey or if it's credible, safety information, and if they're gonna mention like prepare for an evacuation, because here's the thing: snow is melting, and it's coming down south, and the areas that are set up designed to hold it won't be able to hold it. I'm telling you, I just went and looked at them. They can't hold much more water. Not the water that's going to come down, and that's, I think, why they're having these meetings. But it's not in the media here. It's really not. No one's talking about it here locally. God bless the truthers on YouTube, because they're talking more about it in other states they live in than the locals here in the media. So hopefully things change after this meeting today, and we learn something. What's this? Party Palace. Why does it look like a... I thought that looked like a radiation thing. Anyway, like I said, I like to poke around and Google Earth. Laser gray. So, this is the information. There'll be more in 4 hours to come out. It'll take a couple hours to have the meeting. This area is in danger, and they won't be able to fix the repaired spillway in time by November. It's impossible. So it's going to come down to, is this snow packed of 190% melting? Today's 93 degrees early in May 3rd. It's early. We didn't get no transition or acclimation into this. Is this going to flood us? Well, it seems like it did. I'm telling you honestly, man, it seems like it's going to. Just with my own eye. I don't need a meeting to tell me that levee is too high, the river level is too high, and there's more water coming, and it's common sense. You don't have to be a levee expert. So what's your plan? I guess that's what they're talking about, have a plan. I have a plan, and I'll be safe depending on if they give us enough announcement or not this time. future announcement. Just be prepared for this. Because the locals here are looking at this long term with all this weather manipulation, and this is not normal. This is not normal rain anywhere in the United States at all. A levee failed today over in the south. I mean, so let's say they're able to. That's the thing, man. Trying to picture this. How can they stop it? I mean, I mean, it's a mess. They don't have time to stop it by November. But this is let's say God blesses us and it doesn't flow out and levees don't break. Well then, when's it going to begin raining again in 2017 and filling back up again to be even more threat of more rain? And what will the level of these waters be? See, I'm not going to listen to them personally. I'm not. I'm going to watch myself and vet this information. So in other words, when's it going to start raining again in 2017? I mean, people really, if you see someone that's focusing on this and sharing this information, support them, man. This is a real thing. I'm living right here where the water's coming, and I'm calm and I have a plan, but man, we got to warn people. You know, I bet you most people didn't even know there was a meeting in Oroville yesterday, did you? I just happened to find out, strolling through Twitter, that there was one for us today. And I live here, and it wasn't on the news.